Heyo, welcome back everybody, this is Jjakji, and today we're going to have a look at some Terran strategy. The player we're going to take a look at today is going to be this barcode known as Jjakji, I guess, former GSL champion and all-around cool Terran player. So this will be a TvP specific build. First off, as always, the complete build order will be in the description. You can just check down there below the video, copy paste it, do whatever you want to do, and add it to your collection if you feel like. But we're kind of going to go over the generalities of this build, kind of give you a nice overview of how it works and small things that he does, and the timings you need to look out for. So right off in the bat, we got a command center first, followed up by 3 barracks. 3 barracks, a lot of barracks here. There's not really many things that can hurt this build to begin with. Of course, since you're going for a CC first, you do have to worry about a proxy gateway, and then of course like actually double proxy gateway, chrono boosting out a lot of zealots. That'll be a problem, but that doesn't happen too often these days. But if players do that, you can always just pull all your SCVs, do a little bit of micro, and maybe get yourself out of it. But another thing this build is really good against is a Protoss player who likes to go for Stargate opening, and that's exactly what we have Jjakji looking for right now. He's scouting around the map looking for any type of proxy Stargates or proxy robos if your opponent's a little weird. But no, he's just looking for around the map for proxy Stargates, and he's gonna make a lot of Marines out of these barracks. He's gonna continually produce Marines out of this barracks, and he already has 2 refineries up, and the rest of his gas is gonna go to other various things like getting Stim, getting your engineering bay up, getting your factory going, and getting add-ons for your barracks, like reactors, tech labs, stuff like that. Get your researching going. So it's going to be a while until it actually starts producing Marauders with this. And at this early in the game, Marines are going to work well enough versus any type of early gateway pressure, which is almost non-existent these days. But the Marines are going to do great versus, mothership cores or oracles once or if they arrive. So let's see, what do we got so far? You got a lot of Marines up here at the front of his base, and already starting his engineering bay, as you can see, and already starting Stim. Stim, very important for a Terran player, is going a lot of Marines. And this is one thing that he's already going to go ahead and do. So we see we got a pack of 6 Marines here at his natural, covering the worker line, and then he's going to have 6 more Marines. These guys are going to go up here, and they're just going to chill out at this top area to protect these workers. At this point in the game, let's see, the timing for oracles are about 640-ish, depending on the map size, depending on the exact build. But as you can see, the oracle's already heading out across the map, so you kind of keep certain numbers in mind for timings. And of course, the oracle anywhere between like 6:30, I guess you could say 6:30 to 7 would probably be a good time to be prepared for an oracle coming. And having 6 Marines there is going to be just enough to deal with an oracle. 6 Marines can fight an oracle. 5, I think an oracle can kill 5 Marines, but not 6. So you'll see him move around as Marines in groups of 6, and that's definitely intentional. So he's going to have complete control of his mineral lines here, and this oracle won't be able to accomplish too much this game. And shutting down this oracle harass is pretty big. It allows you to take more advantage from your command center first, and just lets you keep your worker lead on into the game. Now this build is really focused around a really heavy 2 base build up and then 2 base pressure. Later on, about the 12-minute mark, he tries to get a 3rd, but it doesn't really happen. But we're just going to focus on the point up until then, where he just gets his build revved up on 2 bases and see how it works out. So now we're getting to the section of the build where he's got all of his production buildings he's ever going to have for the rest of this game, or at least for this replay. So we're going to have 5 barracks. 3 are going to have tech labs, and 2 are going to have reactors. And then of course we're going to have 1 starport with a reactor on there. And we're going to have 1 engineering bay that's going to get +1 attack upgrade first, and then +1 armor first. And as well, we're eventually going to settle on 50 SCVs for this this build. 50 SCVs is more than enough to have optimal saturation at both your main and natural, with a couple SCVs left over to build various buildings and stuff like that. So we already got the combat shields being upgraded. We got the concussive shells being upgraded, and he's pushing out now across the map. You know, this is a pretty standard timing for Terran players. Once they get those first 2 medivacs out, they head out across the map, and he's got a lot of Marines just pushing out across the map. And I'm going to go apply some pressure to his opponent, try and force him to use that Nexus cannon. So now's about the time where he starts to get the Marauders out. So combat shields are done. Let me see here. Yeah, after it's going to be after he finishes these next 2 medivacs, he's going to go into his Marauder production. So just kind of, you know, the easiest way to remember builds like this is just think, okay, I did this, now what is like the step after that? So after you get 4 medivacs, that's when he starts Marauder production. So we'll see some Marauders coming out of here. And then for the rest of the game, it's essentially just going to be 3 Marauders and 4 Marines being produced out of those barracks for the entirety of this game. And as with most standard bio play versus a Protoss player, he's going to start to switch into Vikings after those first 4 medivacs as well. So his opponent down here is going to go with you know, mostly Warp Gate units along with Triple Colossus. And you know, whenever you see your opponent going with that Colossus tech, you definitely need to start to get those Vikings out there ASAP. So pretty confident. Jjakji has got the control. He actually built one. Actually, let's pause this here for a second. Kind of testing the waters up there at the front, but he built one missile turret here in his natural. Maybe worried about the little Oracle. You can decide to do that, yes or no. It's up to you. Maybe you might want to add one here in the main too if you think your opponent is going to come back and harass with that Oracle, or if he's going to use it to defend with once you start to push out across the map. So, I mean, at this point, he's across the map. Let's check out the upgrades. He's got the +1 attack upgrade, he's got the combat shields, and he's got Stim. So those are the 3 most important upgrades for a Terran bio player. Of course, armor's on the way, but you know, armor's not as important as the +1 attack upgrade, Stim or combat shield. And he's also flown his factory all the way across the map to have the ability to maybe take a couple shots from stalkers once the battle begins. He flew that as soon as he did a swap here off this reactor. He just flew that factory all the way across the map. Now, we're gonna just check this out here. So he kind of runs up to the front there, throws down a scan, sees what's up. And I like this thing right here. So he's kind of went around the edge of his opponent's base, and he's hasn't been able to pick off any buildings because of course there wasn't any over here. But he's taken the chance to take off this little pylon here, so that's going to work out for him. Just kind of supply block his opponent just for a little bit. And he's going to pull his factory away just for a second. But, you know, we can see right now we got 2 bases versus 2 bases. Neither player has taken a third yet. And this is a situation where, let's say this Protoss player decides to push out and try and push out and take a third base. And if you haven't produced your own third base and you've just been stuck on 2 base, you've been working on your upgrades, you've been streaming units across the map, just remember to see all these buildings. They have their rally points all the way across the map. He needs to keep this train moving, keep all these guys heading out across the map. That way you always have reinforcements. You always have, you know, as many units as possible at your disposal if he decides to push out. And we'll see what happens once this Protoss player actually decides to push out and then how badly that ends up for him. And, you know, with Medivac Bio, if you see an opportunity to go in their main and do some dropping, you can, of course, do that. But Jjakji in this scenario is kind of just chilling outside his base and making sure there's no third anywhere. He's even got a guy up here checking out this third base, and he's kind of setting up all his forces on this map just to try and create a concave out here once his opponent pushes out. And once again, we see just Jjakji making units, getting that last +1 upgrade. And we won't even see an armory in this game because Jjakji is so focused on this like 2 base style, this 2 base really aggressive pressure that he's not even going to make an army. He's not even worried about 2-2. He's looking to end the game right now. Now, one thing that you have an option to do here is you have your option to pull all your SCVs and go for a big attack. We can see, if you want to check out a game where Jjakji did this exact same build. It happened in Homestar Cup this past weekend. He was playing MC. MC actually opened up with an aggressive, he pushed out with a Zealot, and he pushed out with a Stalker and an Oracle. And that's another time you have to look out for, is that Chrono Boosted Zealot, Chrono Boosted Stalker coming out to your base. And you can watch that game if you want to see how Jjakji handled that, that type of pressure. But later on, Jjakji pulled all his SCVs to fight MC with all his Colossus. And it's just you know, of course, one of those useful things Terrans can do with their SCVs. And of course, if you have your opponent trapped in your base and you want to pull your SCVs to kind of seal the deal, you can do that as well. But in this game, Jjakji doesn't really even need to do that because his opponent makes the mistake of coming out here and then looking for a battle. So we'll see what goes on now. So he's got 3 Colossus out now. You can check the army supply, 110 versus 63. Now Jjakji has been doing nothing but making units to kill stuff. You can see the Protoss player's already up to 60 workers, and that's more than enough workers for 2 bases. He is really planning on making 3 bases here, but Jjakji has no intention of that. He's on the 50 Harvester mark. He lost one guy there from a Void Ray, but not a Void Ray, but a Oracle. But he's sticking with that 50 workers. So all this extra supply wasted in Harvesters is not going to help him in this fight. And you can see just the power of Jjakji's production abilities here as a pretty big supply lead against his opponent. So looking for a fight, any fight that happens in open ground is going to go in Jjakji's favor just because he's bringing all his units from across the map. He's got his guys spread out here, and he's been focused so hard on just having the strongest army possible at this point in the game, and just preventing his opponent from taking an easy third. And the second this Protoss player moves out here, Protoss player is going to move out here. Jjakji comes from everywhere. He's got units up here at the top. He's got a pretty good concave. This is like a 180-degree concave on this Protoss player. So the Protoss player, he's got 3 Colossus, but Jjakji has his own set of Vikings. The Vikings are just going to work on those Colossus. A couple force fields go down, but Jjakji just walks on in there, targets the Colossus. Very important here. You need to get rid of those Colossus. And then after that, the medivacs and the Marines. And look at this on the map. Keep in mind, look at this. He's still streaming dudes from across the map. This is all about creating a soft contain on your opponent, and if they decide to push out to take that third base, because he really wants to take a third base based on how many probes he has, if he really wants to take that third base, you're going to punish him for it, and you're just waiting for that Protoss player to come out and take a third base. And we'll see that army gets destroyed. Jjakji has a huge lead right now, 170 supply versus 29. Nexus cannon goes down, but there's just so many forces here. Jjakji will easily be able to clean this up on top of some extra units streaming out from across the map. Forced to pull some probes, but yeah, that's going to be the end of this game. But yeah, it's just some things to keep in mind. The types of maps Jjakji likes to do this on. He likes to do this on large 2-player maps. He doesn't do this on large 4-player maps. He likes to usually open Reaper there, but for the maps I've seen him do this build on, it's a large 2-player map. Keep in mind watch out for and scout out for that first zealot running across the map, trying to do some damage to you. If you go for that, if your opponent scouts, you're actually going for that command center first, because if they send a probe out early, you might have to watch out for this first zealot and keep an eye on that. And like I said, you can check out the VOD of MC versus Jjakji and how Jjakji dealt with that. Also, remember the Oracle timing. Watch out for the Oracles. Keep an eye on that. But the rest of the stuff in here, I got all the timings you need for your buildings, the build order, and all that good stuff is in the comments, or not the comments, but the details section of the video. And you guys can take a look at that. Hopefully it'll get you some wins. I think this is a really strong build. The opening is kind of a little bit risky with the CC first, but after that, I think this is such a strong and solid build for Terran. It's going to get you a lot of wins on the ladder. So that's it for me, guys. If you guys have any questions about the build, you can leave them in the comments. I will post the link to the replay also in the details section, and should be able to post a link to that home story cup VOD between Jjakji and MC I've been referring to as well. So I hope you guys appreciated this. I'll bring some more build order videos to you in the future, and I'll see you guys next time.